Section 2. The Plot. Princes Rama and Chandra, the quintessential siblings, are the sons of Emperor Samudragupta. Prince Rama, the elder of the two, is jealous and temperamental, and fond of his creature comforts. On the other hand, Chandra is hardworking, sensible, and deeply involved in the matters of state. How do these two deal with the drama and intrigue around them?
Atma stared out of the window of his house. It was night, and Shashi, who was supposed to meet him that afternoon, still hadn't turned up. I think something is wrong with Vidura. Shashi should have come by now, Atma said to Vidura, his assistant for over 2 decades.
Can he get you in trouble, sir? Don't worry, I'll take the blame on myself.
Vidura wanted to show his loyalty. It won't come to that. Atma shook his head. I made it clear to Shashi that his family will be safe only as long as he protects me.
How about Vijaya, sir? He looks like a troublemaker.
Atma dismissed Vidura's concern. Vijaya doesn't even know I exist. He thinks Shashi is the mastermind. Vidura nodded in agreement.
Should I check with Shashi's wife?
Why are you so thick? There may be people watching that idiot's house if he's in trouble. Atma continued in a tone of disgust. Vijaya put together that failed plot to assassinate Samudragupta. Shashi convinced me that it would work. Atma stretched his legs. Though he was 70 years old, his mind was sharp as a knife. Nothing would stand in the way of his agenda of exacting revenge on Samudragupta. Chandra read the scroll Harisena gave him. It was a letter from his father. Minister Harisena, an attack on us by the Shaka King is a joke. So don't panic. He's too bankrupt to wage a war against us. However, find out who's behind Vijaya and Shashi. There's no need to bother the Queen with any of these details. The news from here is that except for King Matila, all the others have submitted without a battle. We have defeated Matila too, despite the support he had from the Naga king. Tomorrow we will head north towards Gandhara. Chandra scowled after reading the letter twice.
I don't understand, father. How can an imminent Shaka attack not cause panic?
Kritavarma agreed with Chandra and tore the letter in shreds.
They couldn't afford to have it end up in the wrong hands.
If we don't stem the rot now, it may be too late.
Harisena disagreed. Let it be for now. We have to make the renegade believe that the case is closed with the arrest of Vijaya and Shashi.
But we still don't have a clue about the identity of the main traitor, said Chandra.
Minister Harisena, you are the one who keeps saying there's someone powerful behind Shashi and Vijaya. Aren't we better off hunting down the man helping our enemy? The plot will unfold with time, Prince. Harisena patted Chandra on the back. Pranava was the son of a senior commander who had died in a battle 5 years back. Samudragupta had provided accommodation for him along with his mother inside the palace fort. Pranava went to school along with the princes and the other ministers' children. Chandra liked Pranava's natural wit, friendliness, and the fact that he rushed headlong into things, much like him. As they waited by the river for a few others to join them, Pranava asked,
Prince, I don't see you in the evenings anymore. What is going on?
Chandra smiled. If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Try me.
Pranava grinned as he circled on his horse. He could never stay still. Chandra laughed. Pranava treated him like a friend, not like a prince. I'll tell you some other time. By the way, who's joining us today? Asked Chandra, changing the topic. Pranava always gathered a group of 3 or 4 people so that they could camp at night.
Wait till you see them.
Pranava flashed a mysterious smile at Chandra.
Oh, no.
I don't want an experimental crowd today, Chandra groaned. Last time Pranava had brought two of their classmates who had bored Chandra to death with their tales. Soon they heard hoofbeats. 4 horses came into view. 2 of the riders were familiar to Chandra. They were the sons of senior commanders. Chandra had never seen the other 2 before. They were about the same age as him, but they had fair skin and light golden hair. Where had Pranava found them? Good evening, Prince Chandra. Thank you for inviting us. One of them bowed and spoke in perfect Magadhi Prakrit. So they were locals. Chandra smiled politely and looked at Pranava, waiting for introduction. The 2 boys looked a little tense. Prince Chandra, this is Soma, and this is Sura. Pranava introduced them. Twins. Their ancestors were Greek. We don't see your community here, but you speak our language quite well, Chandra remarked as they started riding, following Pranava's lead.
Our ancestors came here when Queen Helena married King Chandragupta Maurya.
About 200 of us live a few miles from here, but we are no longer purely Greek. Soma, the chatty of the 2, replied. Chandra was relaxed during the rest of the hour-long drive into the forest.
Soma is a great slinger.
He can catapult anything he can see or hear, said Pranava, visibly proud of his friend. Before Chandra could get off the horse, a small wild berry fell on the ground and splattered into a purple puddle. Then another one, and another. As everyone watched in amazement, Soma catapulted small stones at the tree, and soon there was a mountain of berries around them.
That is amazing! What speed and accuracy!
Chandra exclaimed. You have to teach me at least the basics of catapulting. Turning to Sura, he asked,
Are you an expert slinger too? Or do you have some other mind-blowing talent of your own?
Sura laughed. I am the boring twin. I studied the similarities and differences between Indian and Greek astrology. Chandra nodded. That sounds very interesting too. You both should visit us at the palace. We can exchange ideas. Chandra was always eager to make new friends and learn from people.
You're kind, Prince. It would be our privilege to visit you at the palace.
Soma and Sura bowed to Chandra with a smile. The Shaka King, Rudrasimha's new scroll to Atma, had been anything but pleasant. The king had given him an ultimatum. Either Atma should come up with a plan to defeat the Guptas, or he would lose his connections with the Shakas. Atma had to act fast. Rudrasimha was his only hope of avenging Samudragupta. He couldn't afford to sever ties with him. Atma did not have any access to confidential information since Shashi and Vijay were arrested 6 months ago. That evening, he was out on a mission to recruit a new informant.
Why don't you wait right here, sir?
Said a concerned Vidura.
I'll bring the boy to you. Where we are going is not a good part of Patliputra.
Atma shook his head. I can't risk anyone seeing me. Bring him into the river. They were on a street that was getting increasingly busy and filthy. Soon there were loud voices everywhere. Hawkers peddling their wares, drunken men brawling, women shouting at their kids, dogs barking and crows cawing. A thick, revolting stench hung in the air. It was the eastern edge of the city, where poverty reigned and cheap taverns ruled the neighborhood. As Vidura walked towards the tavern, Atma limped alone, with only his thoughts for company. He relived the events that had got him ousted from Samudragupta's council. Atma had been the prime minister and advisor to Samudragupta's father for decades. But Samudragupta, after taking over Magad, had refused to take Atma's financial and military advice. Atma had reasoned with Samudragupta patiently in a meeting. If you win wars, you must bring home the wealth. Protecting Bharata from foreign invaders by uniting it under your rule can't be the only reason to go into battle. I don't see why you should dishonor your father's sound practices. Samudragupta had been quiet. Then one morning, Atma had heard the heartbreaking news that Harisena had replaced him as Prime Minister. Atma was demoted to being one of the king's many advisers. Furious, he confronted Samudragupta. You can't make a novice like Harisena the Prime Minister of a large kingdom just because he's your friend. You stripped me of my position only because I opposed your plans. A sycophant is not what a king needs as his right-hand man. Atma knew he was in trouble as soon as the words were out of his mouth. Samudragupta had formed a small private council of ministers and commanders,
and Atma was not a part of it.
Atma had then gone on to gather a covert group of people to protest against Samudragupta's war policies, not out of malice, but with the sole aim of making Samudragupta change his mind. Unfortunately, the wimpy protesters he'd recruited had squealed that Atma was the man behind them. That had marked the end of his career as a political leader. Samudragupta had banished him from the court completely.
You'll pay for this, king. You'll pay for this dearly.
He'd eventually sided with the Shaka King, Rudrasimha, a man who had harbored a similar hatred for Samudragupta. Rama raised a brow quizzically at the man who approached him. Nobody spoke to anybody in the tavern.
Prince!
Vidura bent closer to Rama and whispered. He was cautious not to let the others hear him, but he need not have worried given the din, with everyone talking at once and the tavern keeper yelling at those who didn't pay. Minister Atma is waiting outside for you. Please follow him. Only you. Rama heard the impudence in Vidura's voice. Instead of anger, he felt panic. Good God, the man knows who I am. His head reeled. He always got away with his disguise in that tavern. What does the old minister want from me? He looked at Megha,
who appeared as taken back as him.
Vidura was already walking out of the tavern.
Go with him,
Megha urged Rama.
I think that's Vidura, Atma's assistant. You have to meet the minister, now that he knows you're here. Father will feed me to hungry lions if he hears that I'm here or that I'm meeting that old traitor.
Rama followed Vidura. The horse wagons rattled on the narrow cobbled street, threatened to knock him down.
Where are you taking me? Couldn't you find a place with better roads?
Rama snapped at Vidura when there was nobody around them. He had planned to visit his friend.
I'm meeting an old owl instead.
Rama cursed his fate. Finally, the street ended in a narrow dirt road that led to the river.
Wait here, Prince.
Vidura stopped Rama and signaled him to sit on an abandoned stone bench. There are bird droppings all over. Where do I sit? Whatever it is that your old master has to say, it better be good. Rama winced in pain as he sat down. There were blisters on his feet. He had gone barefoot to the tavern to merge with the crowd.
Prince!
Rama was startled to hear a voice behind him. Atma, in the guise of a commoner, walked around to face him.
Why are you in disguise, minister? Planning to visit the tavern with me?
Rama tried to hide his nervousness with a joke. Atma ignored Rama's words. Have you seen yourself lately, Prince? Do you look like the future king of Magad? Stung by Atma's reproach, Rama glowered.
Look who's talking. A man who got kicked out of the king's council.
Rama got up to leave.
I've been taught to respect elders. Don't make me cross the line of civility.
Sit down and listen to me if you want to become a king. Your brother represents your father in the court in his absence. Do you understand what that means? He did not wait for an answer and continued.
The king has chosen Prince Chandra as his heir, not you.
Atma's words pierced Rama like a knife. Managing to control his raging emotions, he said,
How do you know that? Even if it is the truth, why are you telling me? Whether Chandra becomes the king or I do, how does it matter to you?
Your father wasn't just to me, and now he's being unfair to you. I want to help you because I want fairness in the Gupta kingdom, as it was during your grandfather's times. If you trust me, meet me here tomorrow at the same time. Otherwise, feel free to suffer your fate. Don't discuss this meeting with anyone, not even with your mother or your friend. Rama watched Atma limp away, holding Vidura's shoulder. Should I trust this man? As Rama spent the night tossing and turning, a thought kept haunting him. If father appointed Chandra as his representative, why didn't mother tell me about it? The more he thought, the more he felt he was alone. No one supported him. Atma was not a friend, but at least he was offering to help him become the king. The old man's ulterior motives were irrelevant. All that mattered to Rama was that he should become the next king of Magad. By the end of the night, Rama had made his decision. He was going to accept Atma's offer. The Shaka King, Rudrasimha, read aloud the letter from Atma. Prince Rama, the eldest son of Samudragupta, is not on the best terms with his father, which will work in our favor. Please give me a few months to make him useful. He will undoubtedly bring about the demise of the Gupta Empire. Then I'll make sure the Shaka flag flies high in Magad. Rudrasimha crumpled the letter and threw it away. The chair that seated Rudrasimha's bulk creaked as he shifted. His pockmarked face looked murderous.
Atma is old and delusional. I told him that Patliputra should be ours before Samudragupta returns. But the old goat is still making these elaborate plans. When Atma had come forward to help him in this mission, he had become hopeful. But thus far, Atma had only made empty promises. You don't seem to feel the rage I do. Rudrasimha knitted his brows in irritation at his minister Kedar. The minister, a tiny man, shrunk in his chair. A coup has to be carefully plotted before it is executed, king. Kedar's voice was almost a whisper. Atma seems to have a good plan for a change. Minister, are you suggesting that we wait for that dim-witted prince to help us? Let's attack Patliputra before Samudragupta heads home from his war campaign. Rudrasimha's voice rose so high it squeaked. Kedara replied, Marching east as far as Patliputra from here is not an easy task. Samudragupta's vassals and allies are stationed all along the route. Our small force will be destroyed before we reach there. Stop being so pessimistic, Rudrasimha snapped at Kedara. Think instead. Allies and vassals always want freedom. Send them a message asking them to join hands with us.
Rudrasimha's face contorted with anger as he thought of the time Samudragupta had ambushed his beloved city of Ujjaini. Many southern invaders had already ravaged Ujjaini, but Samudragupta's attack had come as a shock to him, because there had never been any bad blood between them. Rudrasimha had to take his army from Saurashtra and head to Ujjaini, which was a good 600 miles away. In the first 3 days, it was a closely fought battle between him and Samudragupta. Having fought dozens of campaigns in the northern Bharata, Samudragupta didn't have a big army. However, by the 4th day, the Gupta army had grown 10 times with the aid they received from an ally. Rudrasimha had no more resources left. He had been forced to concede and call a truce.
But when he met Samudragupta and proposed that the Shakas and the Guptas become allies, Samudragupta had laughed.
An ally is someone who is an equal or a friend. You will be my vassal. You can rule your land by paying us taxes and by following the rules we set.
Rudrasimha had lost his temper.
In this part of Bharata, I am a powerful ruler. Don't invite trouble for yourself by waging war in my homeland.
Your homeland is Persia, not Bharata. Let's continue the war. When I win, you will have to leave your throne and head back to your real home. Samudragupta had derided. It was true that the Shakas were a nomadic tribe in Persia. However, they had been ruling over western and northern Bharata for close to 4 centuries now. How could Samudragupta still taunt him as a foreigner? Short of resources, Rudrasimha had swallowed his pride and accepted the status of a vassal. Samudragupta had humiliated him further by throwing a petty tax exemption at him for 5 years. But in return, Rudrasimha had to swear his allegiance to the Gupta Empire. The Shakas must not wage wars against the Gupta Empire or its allies, Samudragupta had dictated, while his ministers inscribed the terms on copper plates. I won't invade you as long as you abide by the rules.
If there's even a tiny whiff of doubt about your loyalty, you're finished.
An extract from Journey to the Throne by Vani Mahesh. Vani Mahesh, a software engineer by profession, has a deep-rooted interest in Hindu mythology and ancient Indian history. She is the author of Creation Tales, Stories from Brahma Puran, Saptarishi, The Seven Supreme Sages, A Kingdom for His Love, and Meet Me in the Middle.